Hello, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of, yes, Hearts of Iron 3 Black Ice 11.2. And I've changed my audio settings just a little bit, so feedback would be all right on that. Good, bad, bad. If feedback that something's wrong is so much better than telling me that I sound a little better or something. Because sounding better is cool, but sounding bad, that's a bad thing. All right. Well, I'm not making this live. I know that I'm talking often with I love hanging out with you guys and interacting, and that's really cool. But it does, and I do recognize this, distract from playing and talking about the game, what's going on in the game, history around this. Okay, so we're getting some more surplus now. I'm not worried about this as of now, but I do have my concerns. Is this a big enough navy? I don't know. We will see. I think we're going to build more navy, but I also think we need to start building more other things, like some defenses in the Pacific. In Europe, well, so long as Britain is holding out, here and here, we can take some time to build up and react to it, like historically. I don't know what to expect out of playing as America here. I know I was, and Yoshihisu, I think I'm sorry butchering that a bit now. Was how pessimistic I was being, or defeatist, he said, when playing Japan. He's recently watched my Japanese series. And he's right, I was. Now, what happened? Basically, I won. Now, no, I didn't, march armies into Washington, D.C., but basically. Well, it was either here or here. I think it was here that America moved its fleet, and it was just naval base level 2. This was after me, or before, I don't know, coming in and getting Honolulu here, and it just sat there. The fleet just sat there. The complete doomstack of an American fleet, huge thing. But because it was just level 2, they weren't getting any supplies, so they were completely disorganized. So I just kept pounding them with air power and destroyed it. And so I was victorious because of really stupid AI who wouldn't analyze, oh, well, hey, we can't support, big American doomstack. We have to get it out of here. And because of that, I was able to do a lot more stuff. So I wasn't as defeatist as I expected. So I was looking at it from a historical perspective and presuming the AI would be minimally competent. Not that they were going to make any great moves, but just that they would get their fleet out, build up and they did build up some other fleet elements, develop ground forces, and then invade. Invade this island, invade that island, invade this island, and just be too strong to defeat the fleet and becoming too heavy, hammer blows to stop the invasion. That's what I expected to happen. Obviously, they didn't get a and I don't think Japan, it's been a long time since I played it, was, because there was a lot of forces back here in America, was strong enough to invade mainland USA and win. So the hammer blows didn't come Japan, takes out Australia and pushes into India and other things like that. So, yeah, my pessimism wasn't shown out. Now, my expectations is, and I've definitely seen the AI, especially before this, but maybe with this even more likely, take out places like Guam. You know, when I'm playing as Germany, take out the Philippines eventually, take out, you know, maybe Wake Island or something early on from the Americans and control this area. I don't know how well the AI will do this against how aggressive it will be. We will see. And it may be very aggressive and whatnot, and we'll have to do it. Or maybe it will just be, you know, doom stack of infantry pushing into Burma or something. We'll go, huh? We'll just, you know, sail around and have no trouble. I don't know. But my understanding was, and they had actually sort of trained for this at some time in the 30s, for the American fleet, once war with Japan started, because they figured it was, well, depending on the year and depending on the situation, I'm sure it changed. But I don't know how much the American Navy / the American government, which are two different things, thought there was going to be, like, oh, there's going to be a war with Japan. Eventually, I think that becomes more and more likely, though the shock of the war to the Navy was still considerable when it did happen. Not just the sinking of the fleet, but just, oh my God, we really are at war. But it was, and because you can look into the 30s and sort of look around and who you're going to fight. I know I'm more playing and less talking, but we're talking about expectations of the game in the Navy. I recently dropped Chinnafil. You have simple names, guys. He's English. You know, Gamer 1745. Be able to say it now. Maybe for Japanese, you can't say that easy, but you know, if you're English speaking, you know, have easy pronounced names. Nah, just me BSing here. Really nice biography of Admiral King. Really appreciate it. Just watched it a day or so ago. And one of the things when he gets in command of the sort of Atlantic fleet out here, I think like in 39 or 40 or whatever, maybe even slightly earlier, I don't know, and opened up the safe with the, you know, battle plans of what to do if, you know, for the Atlantic fleet, if you go to war, you know, what are the current plans, because he, you know, was a reorganizer and wants to, you know, figure out new battle plans, what to do. The only battle plans he found was for the Atlantic fleet, was for a war with Mexico. And you could see that, yeah, you're probably not going to, let's say, have a war with Colombia, or if you are having a war with Colombia, it's not that hard to figure out. You don't maybe have to do a lot of planning to do it. So, or, you know, the war with Honduras. Well, they almost no Atlantic ports, so it'd probably be, though the Atlantic fleet may come through Panama and do it, you know. So, you know, okay, Mexico is the idea, and they did have, War Plan Orange, or I don't know, whatever. They did do something in the 20s against, you know, for possible war with Britain for things. So you have to look at, in the 20s and in the 30s, look around the world, and who are you likely to go to war with if you're the Navy? We're talking about if you're the Navy, which, you know, before nuclear missiles and intercontinental airplane being able to bomb, you know, fly from one continent to the other and come home again, potentially. You it's the Navy. The Army, hey, you can go to war with, Mongolia, and then start to figure it out before you ever, what our plan is to go to war with Mongolia, or Burma, or whatever. Theoretically, it's the Army can take its time figuring it out, because it isn't going on day one of the war. It isn't going to be fighting there. It's going to be, oh, we're raising troops up, and we're training them, and we're buying weapons from, and they got time. The Navy doesn't, so they need plans. So who are they going to fight? Britain and France, which are in a loose alliance post World War One, and add the third major party to that in Europe, Italy. Even though it is fascist, it is still part of that alliance until 1935, and it's a loose one, I will admit, but it is something of a post-war, post-World War One alliance, victors' alliance. So you're going to fight those guys? Well, the Navy should have a plan to deal with them. Germany isn't a factor in 1933 and before. Probably really isn't a factor in 35 or 36. Oh, they've got a few ships. If they go to war with us, they've got some submarines. If just they, whether it's as part of a world war, they pull in, the U.S. government decides to, go to war with Germany. Well, what's our plan? Day one plan. Well, okay, escort, ships to keep from being attacked by submarines, and maybe German raiders, whether I don't know if Q ships aren't maybe the right term, but covert raiders, looking like merchant vessels, or the Gross Bay out in the ocean. Okay, that doesn't take a whole lot of planning. It's not really that big of a factor. So who are you going to fight as a naval power? Well, you really only have Britain, France, Italy, and Japan, other than the U.S., as significant naval powers in the world. And yeah, China has, I think, even a few cruisers, obviously sort of light cruisers. And yeah, Spain has some ships, yeah. Soviet Russia has a few ships, but really, it's not a naval power. Who else? Bulgaria, I think they had British submarines. They bought British submarines or something, and maybe it was either Romania or Bulgaria, I forget which, bought British submarines. I think it was, and some of them were mine-laying submarines, and they didn't have that many British, sea mines left or in service at the time, and the racks on them, and you'd have to basically dismantle the submarine and rebuild it. So it's almost wasn't really worth doing, and they didn't do it. So to use either German or Italian sea mines would have required complete rebuildings of the submarines to be able to use them. So basically the submarines were like near useless or something like that, because you weren't going to be buying any more British sea mines when you're at war with Britain. And I forget whether that was Romania or Bulgaria for sure, or something like that. And so yeah, you got these nations that are buying a few ships from, I know my friend Eric, is a big Norwegian patriot. Yeah, great. But Norway's Navy, the U.S. doesn't care. It's not a significant thing. So, and yeah, Brazil and Argentina, have some cruisers, and, the late 19th, early 20th century there, and so something of an arms race, and even Chile. So they got some, maybe some capital ships. But America, are you going to go to war? But it's not going to be that serious problem. So of the major nations, which were the likely political situations that would actually lead to war? And that would be Japan. And as Japan becomes more and more aggressive in China, and then particularly once it, in 1940, takes over French Indochina, actively taking away a European powers. And it isn't, there are a few woke people that watch this channel. Hi there. I'm glad you're watching. If you are, maybe you'll learn something. And it isn't so much, racism. How dare the Asiatics take away European nations? No, it's expanding the war outside of China. It's going after a major nation. Yeah, I know it's just been defeated by uh, Germany, and depending on what the date was, how much of the French fleet, which was still formidable, is still up and floating because you have the British going after and sinking much of the French fleet because they didn't want it to fall into German hands. But still, still you see the aggressive expansion that, well, maybe the Philippines, maybe, the Dutch East Indies or Malaya is in the next target, and we have to be prepared, and that may cause a war. So they're looking, the U.S. is looking more, and the Navy particularly is looking more and more at to be ready for war with Japan if and or when it comes. And that's what we want to be ready for on day one. Airborne assault tactics, which I think we are going to that's airborne unit training. Here we go. Yes, 1936. We will let that continue. What did we also not? Yeah, okay. We've gone up in our. We can research. Okay, and we are still looking at trying to push research of carriers, I think, first and foremost. No, we're probably going to dribble a few more battleships out and a few more carriers out as the years go on with this. That's if, hey, you guys got to keep watching, please. We have some episodes have been very poor viewing numbers, very poor. And if it keeps up once the war happens, I'm quitting the series. The gamer doesn't finish series. Yep, if people don't watch, why do I make a series that's people aren't going to watch? We need to have people watching. I know we're in 40. Just stopped at 40 tech, but we can come back to it. Like I say, better to get these done earlier than later because of potentially a year and a half, 2 year building time once you start it. Yeah, pause. For right now, the resources aren't a problem. Just I don't like to see red up there, one. And two, I'm looking at if we continue to expand our industrial capacity, I'm hoping for some events that will dramatically expand it. Hoping for, I don't know for sure if they're going to be there. It'll just mean needing a lot more, nope, not Bulgaria, a lot more needing of those resources. So right now, I could probably play through the whole game at like, what is it, 13 or 16 negative and never hit the bottom of the barrel. So we'd like to have it all in green with extra so that we can, if need be, give it to trade it with our allies. and good things like that. Okay, broadcasting event. That's under nation. Okay, I have a like to do small warship armament. Maybe grayed out. Yep. And 4-engine airplane research and advance. Get our flying fortresses and others eventually out there. Okay. Well, let's continue to focus over here. So we need to do rudders and screws, don't we? Yes. We need to up easy. Okay. All of that optimized, and then we need to fleet carriers, light carriers. Yes, extra range for, well, okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, we got one more there. Yeah, that means, oh, we can do a light cruiser class. We want to do that immediately. Okay, heavy cruiser. Okay. Some of the radars. Like I say, well, we are doing that, but let's do a little bit of major, blow a few battleships out. I'd love a competent opponent up here, the Japanese. I do fully believe that. Okay, so I know I interrupted my lost track on it. So the plan was with Japan, one of the fleet exercises, and they actually did it somewhere else. They sort of, I think it was Alaska that stood in for the Philippines. Um, but the fleet exercise was if there's an invasion of the Philippines, the U.S. Navy, the Asiatic fleet would be overwhelmed by the Japanese fleet. The U.S. fleet was to come to the Philippines and relieve the Philippines, and basically, in the sense of destroy the Japanese fleet there, not so much as my understanding of it is so much as escorting a large amount of troop convoys. It's more of a battle fleet sail out, sink the main enemy fleet. Then once that's done, to be able to send convoys of troops out there. But unlike say someplace like Guam, which if you put enough troops there, you can't grow enough food. You can't supply it with munitions. You can, pretty well get yourself dug into the Philippines with, a few good army corps. And I think hold off the Japanese. I think that would have been doable. And the U.S. was starting to get that sort of in operation at the time. Um, um, okay, we can. Okay, we need coal. This is what I'm going to waiting for. So we need 20,000. Okay. Metal mines. Get a little bit more. We're going to get to 22,000, just so that we have money for the stupid Navy wants money, pay it, because it's the biggest thing in the Army eventually. Will want its money, pay its troops, pay its sailors. That BS. Cruiser screws and rudders advance. Okay. In here, 1943. Okay, that's too far ahead for that. Research now. Let's go with bulkhead layout, just because that's a 6, so it'll take the longest to research, so we might as well start getting it researched now. And of course we have the light. Okay. Hmm. Oh well, light player cost 43. That's way too far to do right now. It'll just take so long to grind through that. And not super long, but long enough. I don't want one of those. Oh, well, maybe oh, here. Yeah, I don't want the things up there, because then I won't notice when something else is. Wish I could maybe put one or two on ignore, so it wouldn't show me those, so that I'm not checking. Okay. We're getting copper surplus, which means more supplies. Closed hangar safety procedures. I'm told that probably more historical that we would have done open hangars. Okay, I don't know. Guess how they're defining the difference between open and closed hangars. I just don't know everything about naval. Don't know everything about anything. Yeah, let's come back up here. This one. The green. We can research these, and we will do so soon. I just want to finish off sort of heavy cruiser research here. Be unlocking. Do some of the other ones. Now I want to build a bit more defenses for this area. Well, that's pretty well defended, but some of the other things are a bit better defended. Okay, twin engine bomb bay. If I could put like one good armored division 4 or 5 infantry divisions in the Philippines and put a division or two into Guam and Wake Island and whatever, that would be getting to where I'd like to see the defensive nature in the Pacific here, with some good air basing and naval basing capabilities with South Africa. 1800 money. About where I wanted it to be. Give it the next month. Just agricultural advance. Very nice. It will definitely help with our manpower, which isn't obviously an issue now, but maybe later in the game it will be. Well, let's get heavy bombers. Industrial efficiency, that will help. I'm gonna, because we're doing so good on oil, I'm gonna wait to 41 or so to do that. It may never really be necessary, but having some extra oil about to maybe, be able to give to our allies or something might be a very big use. Well, let's go with medium bomber. Prototypes there, carrier deck optimization. Here. That's a one and done. Ones, yeah, I do those quickly enough. There's only 2 research points in 1941. Quickly, efficiently, you get it. Oh, drop tanks just dropped. Okay. Yeah, we'll go with armor plating. Reduces the speed, but we are some other abilities and mobile unit training. Closer support. All right, South Africa. Yep. And then we'll increase our ICs. We'll, of course, increase our needs for those. Two. And we're down to that. Yes, we expect that from trading. Well, now that we have a big bunch, let's do, since it's the most for coal right now, the deficit, invest in coal mines. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, coal field by 2. Or let's look at Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Sorry, I'm a West Coast kind of guy. Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Harrisburg. Okay, well, okay. I've already built up, maxed out, and I don't know if it can go over the 10 um, for effective levels. This, which is reducing it down, which is stupid. Mining plus, yeah. Seaport, okay, yeah. I don't know if base of 13, if since we've already done it, but this is the coal field, so we're getting 2 more, so you don't need to max this out like I did. Keep that in mind if you're going to be playing as America, because we should now get a lot more. Oh, we need to click on and click off. Yeah, you can see, yeah, wanted to go red as it has to sort of come back from bomb damage, as it were. Okay, Venezuela, no. But we still have enough money for most, like, pop-up needs, like this. Okay, so we will get payment received for air order. 900 money. AVS for money. Yeah, yes. Broadcasting, let's see the plans. Mechanical computing machines have advanced. Good. Which I know this does help research efficiency, and it would. But a lot of the mechanical computing things were like gunnery sites. Hmm. Let's look around somewhere. I don't know why, but we can do that. Okay, we have Heroic Tales possibility and small entertainment shows. We will wait to get some more money. That may open up some more possibilities. Really high. That will probably, at least for the near future, solve all of our full energy needs. Bomber crew layout. All right. Well, so let's see the plans. Okay. No longer. Yeah, that's fine. Bit more money before we see. To click on some of those. Ground attack tactics advance. I think that would be over here. Yes. to 80. And now we're green and we're still going to grow, I think, a bit more. Now, just so that you realize what some of this is doing, I'm sure, is not actually, not actually increasing the coal output from some place like Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Well, I'm adjusting what I'm saying. Not hugely expanding the mining capabilities. They very well may have been running at the mines at less than full capacity because of the depression. That very well may be the case, but I'm not sure. I don't have enough information on it. But partly from a game design principle is not because this here was designed to limit the amount of ICs that were capable. All of this to a point was, of course, as opposed to, you know, how many factories you can, you know, how many, you know, how much. You know, what really, of course, limits your factories is your population and people to work in them. And that just as a playable mechanic wasn't so working. So energy is sort of its base sort of defined thing that was to limit your industrial capabilities. Now, what we are seeing here is the shift from non-warfighting capabilities industrially, you know, to, you know, because meaning if moving a factory or whatever, or supplying energy to a factory that was a shoe factory into a boot factory. Yes, it's the same thing, but and a lot of times, a lot of the military wore shoes too. But you know, to the military needs of, you know, uniforms, which may be the same factory that produced civilian clothing, but it's just shifting the focus and shifting because of the war in Europe, and we could take a quick look at that. Shifting how all of what you have access to as a government. Okay, catapults, 44. Well, we could do thick pressure holes. Be good. Okay. Let's take a quick look at what's going on. So we have this ridiculous thing happening here. This was here at the start of this episode at war with Germany. I don't know why that the AI, after playing so far in this episode, which isn't very long, but has the AI just stuck all of its for? Oh well, the France has pushed into here. Wow, Offenburg. So the French have pushed into Offenburg. Interesting that the AI didn't hold that. It's also been interesting that this whole time that they, I don't know whether this was an event spawn thing or just a revolt risk without troops around that captured the territory, and Germany has not been able to come in Russia, which I find ridiculous. I would say the French were quite capable of piercing, historically, physically capable of piercing the West Wall. Quite capable of it. Mentally, morale-wise, morally, whatever you want to, however you want to say that, no, they weren't capable. Just too sensitive to losses on the offensive, I would say. Into, you know, what would be in there. You just it would be one thing to take those level of casualties, whatever they would be, in a defensive battle for like the Maginot Line, and continue to holding on and continue to fight. But I think whatever casualties would have been likely, they would have given up the assault. We can see here. Yeah, they could break out into here, so this could become a thing, which would then possibly, but it just the reason this has happened, I'm guessing, is one of two, and they're related. One, momentarily Germany moved all or too many forces out of here, meaning there might have still been a division of some sort sitting here, and maybe even one of the weird garrison or HQ type divisions sitting here. And they were planning on moving some other divisions, some other place here to reinforce, because they were moving, the divisions out to go over to here, or whatever it might have been. So it might have been an oopsie of a, opportunity. That's one thing, which is sort of related to the other. Or other because I'm seeing, 3 provinces can attack in here, that whatever divisions they thought necessary to hold this, I don't know, 3 divisions deep or something, that the French have just been able to push into. Maybe, I don't know. Well, on that note, I think we're going to end this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate all of you guys to get this far into it. And I love, Lalas said hi the other day. Hi, Lalas, if you're watching this episode. Love to see who's watching, either from the old days that are still around occasionally, or new people here. Please introduce yourself, so just say hi or something. Thank you so much. See you next time for even more, yes, more Hearts of Iron.